We are live. We are streaming now through via YouTube. We are streaming worldwide as we will be talking about a very important subject here. I want to say welcome to everyone. The subject today is about sugar, the healthiest and the least healthiest sugar sweeteners in our diet. This is going to be a little comprehensive. We'll kind of move quick. I think it's something, probably one of the most important topics when it comes to diet and nutrition, because of the fact that we are eating food to survive, and on the same token, our brain requires glucose to function. Without sugar, we cannot survive. So I'd like to first start out telling people the abundance of sugars just in a can of Coca-Cola or a Pepsi, 8 teaspoons of sugar. Realize that we're looking at 4 calories per gram. Just realize that when you look at the back of a can and it shows 25 or 35 or 40 grams of sugar or carbohydrates, you can multiply that by 4. So if it says 40 grams, then 40 times 4 is 160 calories you're getting from just that sugar. Quite toxic. A recent video we just finished up was all about sugar, how it works along directly with chronic pain. So people that are taking in a lot of sugar are going to have lots of chronic pain problems, and I advise you to diminish it. Let's first go into about the structure of carbohydrates. Very important that people understand this. Carbohydrates are made up of monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. When you look at the monosaccharides, these are just single one-chain saccharides, and these are our glucoses, our fructoses, and galactose. Our glucose is basically what the brain works off of. Our fructose is our sugar in our fruits. Our galactose is found in milk. The disaccharides must be broken down to monosaccharides. So we look at our maltose, which is our malts. Our sucrose is our white sugar. Our lactose is within milk. You look at the polysaccharides, that's trisaccharides, 3 or more saccharides. You have the starch, which is our potatoes. You have the glycogen, which stores the sugar within our liver and our muscles. And you have the cellulose, which is the plant fibers that sweep out the intestines and help keep the intestines nice and clean. So realize that when we eat certain foods like sugar, sugar must be broken down in order for it to be assimilated. So I want to go into a couple of very important things that I think is very kind of educating, on the sense that many med students, doctors, this is one of the first things that they learn. But when you look at a sucrose, the sucrose, which is a disaccharide, which is our table sugar, whereas fructose is a category of a monosaccharide, sucrose is broken down into glucose and fructose before getting the bloodstream and raising your blood glucose. So high levels of blood sugar is associated with damaged blood vessels, which leads to cardiovascular problems, other vessel problems, cholesterol problems, as well as cavities and gum disease that we know about. Now, you look at fructose. Fructose is a monosaccharide. On the other hand, it doesn't go into the bloodstream like glucose. It has to go to the liver first to be processed into a usable form so it doesn't raise the glucose levels. But if you're consuming excessive calories and fructose, that fructose will get converted into triglycerides. Triglycerides are fats, and it can make the condition much worse. Now, obviously, when we have extra sugars in the body, it gets stored as glycogen in the muscles or into the liver. If we have too much sugar in excess of what our muscles and liver can hold, then it starts being converted into fat. into triglycerides. So let's move on into the program. If you just tuned in, I want to welcome you on Dr. Mandell. This is something that we mentioned. Be very careful. You can see all of these sugars that are hidden in a lot of the foods that we eat every day. I want to go into something very important. Let's go ahead and we're going to start from the best sugars to the worst. The best sugars, you're going to say, what's the best thing that I could be eating for my health? Well, I think that one of the best things that we can do is our frozen or our fresh natural fruits, our bananas, our fresh strawberries, our fresh apples, and we use those in our yogurt. We use those in our smoothies. We can make different kinds of desserts. But those natural fruits, to me, are the best sugars that we can do on the planet because it's growing from the ground. We're using something naturally in a whole state. We have bananas that are more ripened, and those bananas become very sweet. And we're taking that whole natural fruit and we're using it. So my first thing on the chart when it comes to the best type of sugar would be the natural fruits. Okay. The second best that I would have to say is your stevias. Okay. Now understand something. I'm talking for everybody. I'm just not talking just for people who are perfectly healthy. Diabetics. This is extremely good for you. Type 2 diabetics, even pre-diabetics, or people who have who can't have the high sugars. If you're going to add sugar to your foods, okay, this is one of the best. Now, understand that a lot of the foods that have the stevia in it, or stevia, however you want to call it, stevia or stevia, you'll notice that it has an alcohol sugar in it called erythritol. I keep messing that name up, but it has an alcohol sugar in it to help combat that bitter taste. Because when you just take plain stevia, you'll notice that it may have a little bitterness in there. Now, the nice thing about this, it has no calories. It's excellent in the fact that it is coming from a plant. It's very sweet. You don't need a lot of it. It's really something that will never hurt you. But again, when we take any type of sugar, we don't want to OD on it because that is not what sugar is about, because you're going to get sugars from your natural foods, your natural fruits, your vegetables, and things that you take in all day long, even your cereals, they're all going to have it. But what's interesting about the stevia, it has some anti-inflammatory compounds in there that can actually do good things for the body. The next thing I want to talk about is our organic raw honey. One of my favorites. Now, organic, it must be organic. It must be raw. Now, to realize that when you look at the organic raw honey versus regular honey, the glycemic index is much lower for this raw honey compared to regular honey that's not raw. I'm sorry, or basically that's not raw. So I'm going to show you the glycemic index after I show you these foods, these sugars, and then I'm going to compare it and we'll be able to see why certain sugars are better than others. But remember, the glycemic index measures the amount of sugar that's being taken in and how fast it's rapidly digested in your system. The slower sugar is digested in your system, the lower glycemic index is going to have. We don't want like pure glucose pure sugar to spark right up, because as you drink it, you get a surge of insulin from the pancreas, and it causes that surge of insulin that kind of shoots down the sugar levels to get in the cells, and then actually what does it do? It spikes back up again. You get that rebound. So you want to make sure that the healthiest foods that you can eat, even as a diabetic, are low glycemic index foods, which I'm going to share with you in just a minute. Now, what I love about honey, it has major antimicrobial and antibacterial properties. They use it for, you can put honey like the old Manuka honey, and I believe the Manuka honey is from New Zealand. Don't quote me wrong. I believe it's from New Zealand. They use this honey. You can put it on bruises, on open wounds, and it heals and it repairs better than anything, from what I hear, on earth. That's natural. It's kind of like a miraculous thing. But raw honey has amazing antimicrobial effects. They use this as a cough suppressant, a throat soother. You can speak to your mother and grandmother, and they'll tell you things that they've done with honey. But what I love about it, it has amazing anti-allergenic effects. So if you have allergies, they just came out with something. You can spray it up your nose. I just got something, a company. You can take a tablespoon, a teaspoon twice a day, and it builds up your immune system. It's really an amazing thing. And I recommend, organic, I recommend raw, and it's something that can really help you out. There's a lot to know about honey. The next thing that comes down, working our way down, I'm going to recommend organic coconut palm sugar. Now, you notice I say organic. I like it to be organic coconut palm sugar. Realize this is mostly sucrose, and it's made some really positive marks. This is made from the sap of the coconut trees and is less processed because the sap is extracted and then it's placed in heat to dry, and it's leaving it with a more natural brownish color than raw sugar. Now, the nice thing about it, it contains lots of minerals, potassium, magnesium, it has inulin, it has prebiotic fiber in there, which is good for the fiber of the intestines. It's still a high-calorie sweetener. It's actually great in the sense because it states that it can gradually lead to a breakdown of help the collagen. But the bottom line is, when it comes down to this coconut sugar, remember, we're dealing with sugar, and we need sugar to survive. So I want you to know that just because you have something that's good, don't think you can just keep eating as much as you want, because sugar does not have tons of nutrients. To me, one of the best is the honey, but most sugars that we're talking about do not have tons of nutrients like your natural fruits and vegetables and your organic things that are growing. So I want you to understand that. Next thing, I'm going to recommend dates. I think dates are like the world's best natural sweetener. Not only are they excellent for you, but when it comes to dietary fiber, when it comes down to preventing LDLs from rising, it actually absorbs it into the gut. It actually helps sweep the colon. It actually has cancer-causing chemicals that binds to the colon, that actually works to keep you strong and healthy. It has flavonoids in there. It has a lot of amazing antioxidants. It has anti-inflammatory and anti-hemorrhagic things in there would actually prevent bleeding. There's really some amazing things in dates. I could just go on and on when it comes to iron, potassium, and calcium and copper, and manganese. It's really, really great. And I tell you, if you ever put dates in like your smoothies or add it to like your cakes or your cooking, you'll be amazed how this tastes so good. One of my favorites sugars, natural sugars. It's an excellent source of potassium. Potassium obviously is important for electrolytes. Potassium is good for the heart. It does actually regulate the heart rate and the blood pressure. And actually it protects us from stroke and coronary artery disease. So I wanted to share that with you, and hopefully that will do a lot of good for you in the future. The next one is pure maple. Pure maple sugar. Again, it's a natural sugar. It's an alternative to cane sugar. It's pretty much the same in calories. It's still a sugar. It's not like a health food, but if you're going to use this, I think it's a great alternative, but it's something that you want organic. The next thing I'm going to talk about is organic agave. There's a lot of controversy on this, but realize this has probably one of the lowest glycemic indexes, and they're saying it's excellent for diabetics. It's mainly more fructose than glucose, so it doesn't assimilate the same like glucose. The pros is it has a syrupy flavor. You can mix this with like tequilas and margaritas, and you can add this to your whatever you like. But the only cons is even though it has a lower index, sometimes it could be misleading to some people. They say that I hear controversial things. So I really not going to only push this, only all for the good. You can do your research on it. You'll see controversial things on agave, but again, it has a very low glycemic index. I honestly feel that if you don't eat so much like you're drinking it, I think that you're going to be fine. The next thing is organic brown sugar. It's organic. It's better than white cane sugar. This is sucrose. There is basically some of the molasses left over from the refining sugars that they add back into it after they process it, which provides this darker color. There's really not enough nutrients that remain to be any benefit. Remember, we're on the bottom part of the ladder right now. All right. And obviously, you're going to make a nice guess on what is after the brown sugar. You said it. It is the old, let's get it here, the old cane sugar. This is our everyday sugar that's added in our cereals, added in our fruit juices, added in our Coca-Colas, added in our cereals, in even our oatmeals, added in our granola bars, added on the shelves. This is everywhere. This white sugar is everywhere. They're not adding honey. They're not adding all the other things I mentioned. They're adding the cheap old white sugar that's toxic to the body. This sugar causes cardiovascular disease. It causes obesity. It causes diabetes. It causes the body to just corrode and erode. And there's nothing good I can say about white sugar. I can't say anything good about it. The studies just show that it's toxic to the body, and if you're taking in lots of this, you're drinking sodas, stop, slow down. You're putting tablespoons of this in your coffee or your tea every day, slow down. I'm telling you right now, if you're having pain, you're having chronic inflammation, it can be coming from sugars. It's going to give you a foggy feeling of your thoughts. It's going to make you lose your memory. It's going to possibly lead to even Alzheimer's and other significant diseases, cardiovascular diseases, plaquing. I can spend an hour talking about how bad it is, but I don't want to do it. I want to try to keep it positive. But there's only one thing that's worse than probably this cane sugar are these sugar substitutes. Now, I can spend 2 hours talking about sugar substitutes. I'd rather see you eat the good stuff that I talked about. And that's why this program is all about, to bring out, to give you some education, to give you alternatives, even though there's no calories in these particular sugar substitutes. A couple things I will touch on just briefly. These are sugar-free. They're non-caloric. They are artificial. These sweeteners are chemical compounds. They are not real foods. Splenda, okay, quite common worldwide, is sucralose. This is a sugar molecule mixed with chlorine molecules in a patented process. Maltodextrin, which is a corn product and is genetically modified and then added to a bulking agent. Aspartame is on the EPA's list of potential carcinogens. In animal models, is linked to leukemia in very high doses. All I can tell you is that you need to be careful when you're eating these sugar substitutes. I don't like them. If you're going to have anything, get the stevia. The stevia is natural. It's from a plant. Stay away from these artificial poisons. I'm telling you, they are dangerous. I don't care what anyone says. When the studies can show me that they're healthy, then I'll change my mind. I read too much, and I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to tell you the truth so you can stay well. Let's go to the last part of our program here. This is so important. We just posted this in a recent video we did about sugar and chronic pain. I'd like you to go look at that video I just posted on my channel. Let's look at the glycemic index. You'll want to refer back to this. This is something that's very important. You can look at the raw honey to the right. It shows the 30 on the glycemic index. If you look to the left, you could see honey as 50. So raw honey is very, very good. Maple syrup, I still like, even though it shows a 54 glycemic index. Maple syrup has a good taste. You can use this in your chia seed puddings. You can put it into your oatmeals. You can use the maple syrup on your waffles or your pancakes. I still think it's good. And I think very tasty. If you look back to the right, you see the stevia extract. It has 0 on the glycemic index. then you can actually look at the coconut palm oil, which is still fairly low, 35 to the right. And you can see all the way on the left up top, your glucose is 100. That's basically the real deep high glycemic sugars. So study this chart. I think it is something that will give you some good education. I really hope that you really learn something, because when I review this stuff, and they teach you a lot of this stuff in school, but a lot of these things you sometimes don't pay attention to. But I would really appreciate people out there, if you are just new to the channel or you're just seeing this video, subscribe to the channel. I try to keep up on the cutting edge of nutrition, musculoskeletal injuries. I have hundreds of self-help videos. I am a chiropractor with a background in nutrition, but hundreds of videos on neck, herniated disc, poor posture, rounded shoulders, things that you can do to help yourself. We have people out there worldwide who don't have all these doctors, who don't financially have the funds to go to doctors. So we're here to help you and give you great information. We've helped hundreds of thousands of people worldwide naturally. And this is what health is all about. So I invite you to come out to my Facebook. That's Motivational Doc on our fan page there, Facebook. You can leave your little comments there. I invite you to leave your messages below this video. You're going to get thousands of people that will read it. And I would love to learn from you, like from other people. We're here leaving messages below so we can teach each other, learn from our experiences, find out things that work better for others that maybe we can apply to ourselves. That's why we're here. There's no magic answer. I'm not a genius, nor anyone else is. We're here to share information, to keep us healthy, to live a long life, and be grateful each and every day. So I ask you to share my videos, check out my channel. You don't have to ask me. Put them on your social media. Educate people. This is what it's all about. We're here to work together to help people. I want to thank all the people in the chat room. I appreciate you very much. I want to send a lot of love and a lot of good health to everyone out there. May God bless you, and we'll be with you again real soon. Bye-bye now.